Hey guys, this is the Professor, and today we are going to improvise a bow saw for the Bush Class Intermediate. Now I know what you're thinking. The Professor would always read the instructions before starting a project, but not so. The first time around, I kind of made the bow saw my way, and I chopped the pieces out in about 10 seconds using my trail hawk. But the scenario here is that we are stranded miles away from all of our other equipment, and the only tool that we have is this wire saw blade, which is a typical part of many survival kits. It rolls up very small and would fit easily into a pocket of our four-wheeler. And so the idea is that this takes up very little space. It would be a very convenient thing to have along if we could go ahead and make the bow saw attachment so that we could use that to saw wood or whatever. Now what we've got here is a big willow, kind of a willow sprout that grew up in the fence row, and I took the liberty of harvesting that so that we could move into the shade for the rest of this operation. So first thing we want to do here is to get our wire saw blade and get that cut off. Previous experience with the wire saws is that perhaps it's not the absolute best tool for sawing, but it will work. It's slow, but once again here the idea is that slow is smooth and that smooth is fast. So you gotta kind of work with what you got. If it's the only saw we had, we would in fact be able to get something done. I'll get back to you when we get this end cut off. Okay, now that wasn't too hard. We got that cut off there in just a little bit. Another thing about these projects is a lot of it is material selection, because I chose this piece out of several because the rest of these little branches here I can rip off by hand. And since I can't use my knife or my tomahawk, which would be my first choice for doing this, these pieces I can just rip off by hand. The next thing here is I got quite a bit of solid bend here, and what I need to do is to get the length of this kind of figured out. But I did find out the other day that you really want lots of tension. If you don't have plenty of tension on your bow saw, it's not going to work very well. So I think that we're going to get that down here and cut it off right about this first fork, break these other pieces off, and I think we'll be good to go. So let me work on that for a minute and I'll get back to you. Well, since this is a bow saw, I think what I'm going to do here to string it up is very much like I string up my recurve bow for shooting arrows. I'm going to get this up here, cut a slot in there, much like the original video lesson, and get that to go in there. That'll put plenty of bow in there, but this is strong enough, I think will keep a lot of good tension on there. So now I'll go ahead and use my bow saw blade and cut a groove in here, and we'll see what happens next. Alright, now we believe the bow saw is about ready to string up here. So first of all, notice here that I saved that fork, so I think I can hook that piece there. And now for the actual stringing up operation, get in here and get that, hopefully not break it. But there is the bow saw with willow. Now we need to put this to the test. So we need to get a little bit of dry firewood, and we'll be testing it out. Okay, now to put the wire bow saw to the test. it is sawing, and it isn't sawing too bad. Once again, you want to remember that slow is smooth and smooth is fast, but the more tension you can keep on that saw blade with your bow, the better. So thicker and more limber wood is probably the secret. I think willow was my better wood choice for this. And we'll saw this piece on. Okay, it does a pretty smooth job of cutting through dead wood. This isn't huge, obviously, about 1 inch. And so let's make another cut. Well, guys, I can say that the second version of the bow saw really is much better than the first one was. Once again, you want lots of tension on your bow saw. If you can hear that, this is just as tight as the strings on a bass fiddle. And so the tighter this is, the better this bow saw is going to work. And there we have the improvised bow saw. So I'll finish on sawing on my firewood here, and I'll say that thanks for joining me today. This is the Professor, and I'll see you soon.